Hey guys, welcome back to yet another video. If you're new around here, my name is Marcelina. I'm a now 16-year-old author. It's crazy. I just had a birthday a couple weeks ago, so that's like my first time saying it in a video. Today we are back with yet another faceless video. I promise these are completely out of my comfort zone. I usually do face vlogs, but because I'm actually going to be doing a tutorial style, kind of like I did yesterday when I posted how to self-publish a book on Amazon, which I'll link in the description down below. You should totally go check it out. It's probably the most helpful video I've ever made because I'm going to be showing you a lot on my computer and kind of like sharing my screen. It's just easier to not have to go back and forth and just set my phone here and kind of walk you through it. So sorry if the audio quality is a little bit wonky, but we're going to have to work with this. As you may or may not know, I am currently in the very late stages of my upcoming release. It's called Labeled Innocent, Presumed Dead. It's a YA mystery romance book inspired by the Natural series and Pretty Little Liars. I've officially finished line edits, and we are within the home stretch. I have like 3 drafts left, two or three drafts left, and then I'm sending it off to ARC readers, and then it's just like ARC readers, promotions, PR stuff, marketing stuff, pre-orders, and then February 14th, it comes out to the public. So crazy, I know, but it has come time where I need to be formatting this book in a like paperback format in order to order a proof copy. Now, if you don't know self-publishing terms, proof copy is basically something you're eligible for if you do publish through Amazon KDP. I mean, you do have to pay for it, but it is this cool thing where even if your book isn't published yet, just you, the author, you can order kind of a test copy. It ships to you really fast. You can read it in a new format, edit that way, catch typos, and really just check the formatting and how all paperbacks are going to look before you publish, which is really helpful because, as you'll see in a minute, formatting a book yourself is hard. Okay, I wouldn't say hard, it's just very tedious, and it leaves a lot of room for mistakes if you're not paying attention, or even if you are. Like, technology can sometimes just have a mind of its own, and sometimes you don't know that something was on, or that like you clicked something accidentally and it didn't show, and then it only shows when you print the book, and you don't want to just have faith in your abilities. No offense, guys, but then if you do that and you don't check how the paperback looks, then when your customers order the paperback on release day or after release, they're going to be sent that first version. If you're creating a product, you want to order a test product, a test copy, to see how it's actually going to look before consumers get that, so that they don't get a messed up version, you know what I mean? Because then that reflects badly on you. That's a bad review waiting to happen. You just want to make sure like everything looks good. I'm going to be formatting in today's video. Not only is this going to kind of be a format with me kind of thing, but also I'm going to be explaining some tips and tricks, how I do things, some formatting rules, etc., etc. So if you are interested in publishing a book and you're like, how do I make it go from this, just regular Google Doc, to something like this is my last book, then stay tuned for this video. You're not going to want to miss it. Okay, so first things first, I'm not going to get too ahead of myself. I always do. This is just a personal preference, by the way. This is not like a hard and fast rule, but I always like to make a new Google Doc copy for each draft that I do. So I consider the different drafts kind of the different stages of like writing and editing. It's just my thing, and I'm very like picky about it. I have it organized in a Google Drive folder and all of that. So we're going to go up here to where it says File, and then we're going to go to Make a Copy. And I just always title it like LIPD Draft 6. And then I have like a little folder, as you can see. Because, I don't know, I am definitely, I don't want to say I have OCD, but like I definitely love things to be organized, and it just makes me really happy. Okay, there we go. That fulfilled a personal satisfaction. Now I can start formatting, because I would feel weird if I start formatting in the line editing document, if that makes any sense. So now that I have this and it is all loaded in, this is like the actual first step. This is what we're going to do first. So the first step to formatting is picking out a size. Now, this was personally never something I thought about prior to getting into publishing. And I feel like if you're just a regular reader or just a regular consumer, you're probably like, huh? What size, Marcelina? Do you mean like page count? Kind of, sorta. The size affects the page count. But have you ever went onto Amazon or like some type of book website and scroll down to where it says product details and it'll like say dimensions, this by this by this, and you probably ignored it, right? Because I mean, why would you need to pay attention to the dimensions of a book? You're just reading it. You're not like a mathematician trying to solve an equation on it. But when you are publishing your book, that is something you actually do need to think long and hard about, because it affects how tall and short / skinny or thick your book ends up being, which doesn't sound like a big deal, but one, there is genre expectations with it. I'm going to show you some examples in just a second, but you'll notice that if you look on your bookshelf or at a bookstore or a library, a lot of the fantasies tend to be a little bit taller, a little bit chunkier. I mean, fantasies are notorious for being like 90, 100, 110K word books, versus if you see something like a mass market mystery from like the 1990s, it's definitely going to be shorter and skinnier. And people expect that. If people were to see a really tall thriller that's like 600 pages, they're going to be like, what is this? I've definitely seen some debate about this when I went to Barnes & Noble one time, because if you've read any of the Boys of Tommen series, and at least for the US editions, I don't know about like the UK copies, because I know that's like a whole different cover and formatting, but for the US editions, they're very thick, very floppy, and very tall books. Definitely that has turned some people away, because they're like, wait, this is supposed to be a contemporary romance? Why does it look like that? And so that sounds really judgy, like literally, why are we judging a book by something other than like title or how interesting it sounds? But unfortunately, that's just the market. And if your book stands out and not in a good way, they're not going to want it on their bookshelf. And for a reason as superficial as that, they might not even buy it. Which sounds so stupid, I know, but you need to pay attention to what's in your genre. So I'd recommend doing some research. Don't just be like, oh, my book's a fantasy, and then look at all fantasies. If your book is a YA fairy tale retelling, look that up. And then go down, if you have physical books, you can measure if you want. Or you can just look them up on Amazon, scroll all the way down to product details, and then the dimensions is what you're looking for. And see what the average is. See what is most common. You do kind of want to stay blending in. Like, I know everyone's like, stand out, be different, be unique. Yes, but this is not the area you want to be unique in, let me just tell you. And then also, you have to be intentional about this, because it affects how many pages your book's going to end up being. Which you're probably like, how? The story's not changing. You're right, but think about it. If you make a taller book, if it's taller, the pages are going to be bigger, which means it'll fit more words on that page because the page is bigger, which means there will need to be less pages altogether. You see what I'm saying? Versus if you want to make kind of a shorter book, shorter pages equal less room for words on that page, which means you'll need more pages to fit all those words in, which means it's going to be a longer, thicker book. So you really just got to determine like what you want, but also as a self-published author, you know, budgeting is always constantly in our minds, and you got to think about logistically from a business standpoint, more pages equals more money for you, because that means a higher printing cost, and a higher printing cost means a less profit. Just kind of keep that in mind when you're picking your sizes, because there are a few factors to consider. Not just like, I like tall books, but like, is that realistic? Does it fit with your genre? Does it look good? You're hearing a lot of yapping from me right now, so I'm going to show you some examples of what I'm talking about. Now, there are definitely some common sizes. I would say 6x9 is pretty common for fantasy. Really, I would say within the last 5 or 10 years, we've really narrowed down on 3 pretty average sizes. 8x5, 8.25 by 5.25, and 8.5 by 8.5. And I happened to find 3 books that are all of those things. So I'm going to be showing you one of each, and then I'll compare them. I need to figure out where I'm going to put my phone. So you can really get a gist of like how big that is, and then also how different they look. Because you're probably like 0.25 inches, there's probably like no difference. But once I stack them up together, you'll see a difference. We'll start with the 8x5. So for that, I've picked out Shatter Me. Don't mind it, the bin cover. This is what happens when you put a book in your backpack. But so this is Shatter Me. It is honestly like pretty average length. So it's not like super thick, but yeah, this is a 8x5. Then we have an 8.25 by 5.25. That is Legend Born. by Tracy Dion. Literally one of my top picks from like 2023. I adored it. Y'all need to read this. This is so underrated, by the way. But anyway, it's kind of hard because it's a little bit different. It has this like, the front cover doesn't go all the way because it has this like cool paper. It's like a different type of paper for the like editorial reviews. So technically it doesn't look like it's as tall as it is. But yeah. So this is 8.25. It's a thick book too, by 5.25. And then we have my last book, The Blood That Divides Us. It is 8.5 by 5.5. So, yes. And this is pretty thick too. I think the final page count was like 420 something. So, I honestly feel like it looks kind of the same page count as Shatter Me. But, again, that's because mine's taller, so there's technically less pages, if that makes sense. Okay. So now I'm going to compare all three of them. Let's see, how am I going to do this? So left to right, we're going smallest to biggest. So on the left is going to be Shatter Me with 8 by 5. On the right is my book, which is 8.5 by 5.5. So as you can see, sorry, my hand's like blocking it. As you can see, it's a pretty noticeable difference. Like, I know when I was showing them, it probably didn't seem like that, and Legendborn is definitely the thicker one, so it kind of stands out in and of itself just because of that. But yeah. So as you can see, there is definitely a difference. I would say personally what looks a little bit more normal to me is Shatter Me. So like this last one. But like also, I'm kind of biased because I literally could have made it this size and I was playing around with it, but I didn't like it. So like, I know it looks weird, but it's really just up to you. But, like, don't think that 0.25 is not that big of a difference, because it is. Just keep that in mind when you are picking your sizes. However, I know I was just kind of, like, talking crap and, like, being all wistful about it. But, as hypocritical as this may sound, I'm actually really content with the size I chose. For The Blood That Divides Us, I think 8.5 by 5.5 is kind of my sweet spot. I really like it. I want to keep it. So, that is what I'm going to be doing for Labeled Innocent, Presumed Dead as well. So, let me show you how to resize Google Doc pages. Now, if you're like, wait, what do you mean? You cannot keep this. When you open a Google Doc, here, I'm going to open a brand new Google Doc to show y'all. So, if you just go to blank document and you just open a new Google Doc, you know, a blank Google Doc appears. This is, you know, how big it is. This is a Google Doc page, but there is a specific size to it. So to find that size, you go up to File again. File's like our favorite button, I swear. Scroll down all the way down to Page Setup. And you'll see, I'm going to zoom in here. You'll see that when you click on that, it shows that the paper size, this is the default, 8.5 by 11. The 8.5 is correct. But 11, remember, we want 5. We want either 8 by 5, 8.25 by 5.25, or 8.5 by 5.5. Not 11. This is more than double of what we need for the width. So it would be like a really, really stretched out, like that's like picture book width. So we don't want that. So if you click on it, it's a drop down and they have all of these options. You can also customize it yourself, I think. But I've never had to do that because, as you can see, my preferred is right here. It's the fourth from the top. It's called Statement, 5.5 by 8.5. By the way, I was saying the 8 first. I know you're supposed to say width and then length. Sorry about that, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. But yeah, this is our 8.5 by 5.5 option. So we just click that. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is like my favorite part. This like default document is currently at 232 pages. But watch what happens when I turn it to the new size. Do y'all see that? Y'all see that, right? Like 452 freaking pages. We were just at 232. It almost exactly doubled. Look at that. And the word count stayed exactly the same. But all of a sudden, it looks like this now. It's hard to see because it's like white on white and I don't think the camera is picking up on it very well. But like, remember how it was like here up to here? There's a line here and a line here. So if I scroll through, as you can see, it looks just like a paperback page. It's very like thin, just like a paperback page would be. Isn't that so cool? I don't know why there's like such a big white space right there. Before, we used to like be able to drag it out because that's like really annoying, but it's okay. It's not going to be centered. Actually, I think if I do that, yeah, that doesn't help. Okay, never mind. I don't even know. It's weird. Just ignore that. This is like what we're concerned about. So now that I did that, the next step is going to be chapter headers. If you look at any other book on your shelf, 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, the chapter headers start a third of the way to halfway down the page. So let me actually go snag a book from my bookshelf to show you guys. So I have Powerless here, the hardcover, which the hardcover is like no different than any other format. But if you go to, why am I missing the first chapter? If you go to a chapter, it's definitely not halfway down the page, but it's not at the top. You see what I'm saying? There's like, I'm really bad at inches, but whatever this is, like 3 inches maybe, 2 or 3 inches from the top. But then if you look at mine, it's right at the top because the like very first part gets cut off in printing. So it's like, there's like half an inch space, maybe an inch from the top. So I wouldn't say that looks bad. Like in Shatter Me, it kind of does that. As you can see, there's still definitely room at the top, but it is definitely very short. And it doesn't look necessarily bad, but it definitely kind of creates more uniformity and like also differentiates like, hey, this is a new chapter. This is like time skip, or you need to pay attention now, instead of it just blurring together with the regular text. What I like to do, and I did this with my last book, so let me just show you real quick. I made mine go way down with my last book. Actually, the first chapter is probably a better example. It's like a third of the way down. That's a lot. That's a lot of space. And it still doesn't look bad though. So like it actually, I personally prefer it this way, but maybe you prefer Shatter Me. Like how it was like really close to the top. I don't know, I just like how it kind of like separates the start of a new chapter from like the full length page of any other page in the book. You know what I mean? So I personally like to space out my chapter headers at least a third of the way down the page. I tried it out halfway once and it looked mid, but I'd say a third of the way is a good sweet spot. And obviously you don't need to get it perfect, but I do kind of like to make use of these rulers that Google Docs kind of has built into the top. And then on the side, I don't know how you can see this, but like on the side as well, kind of estimate by that. So for example, I'm going to say, so I like to like line it up. So I like to make it even, and I like to say, okay, I want to go down to the 2. The 2 is right where my finger is. So I'm just going to space. That was 2 times I hit the enter button. As you can see, this right here would be how much is on the page. That's like really sad. So that didn't work. And I think honestly, formatting is just all about trial and error. At least for me personally, I'm a very visual learner. And so y'all can explain something to me as many times as you want. You could be like 1 space, 2 space, half an inch, 3 inches. I will not really understand or be able to grasp that concept until I see it for myself. So if you're that way too, I feel like formatting is definitely kind of fun and relaxing once you get the hang of it. So I'm just going to go back up, and all you got to do is just press the backspace button, although it gets rid of the indents, and then I just need to re-indent it. And that is at the, what is that, like 1.5? And I kind of like that. I feel like it's a decent way from the top. That's the top. So it's that much. And then there's this much that'll be on the page. And that's only because also this has this like timestamp thing because it just came out of a prologue. And whenever a new chapter from Natalia's POV comes out of a prologue, epilogue, or other character POV, because her sister does get some point of view chapters in here, and then one of the love interests gets like 2 chapters, I do like to put the timestamp because the timeline gets confusing, but that takes up, you see how much space it's taking up? So for 90% of the chapters, it'll be more than this. Do I like that? What if I do it one more time? Actually, if I do it one more time, that's where it was. Okay. We're just going to do one space. I think that's okay. Like I said, I just want it to be a little obvious, but like still look professional and decent. You know what I mean? So that was like 1.5. Okay. It was just one time I hit the enter button. Chapter 2, just hit the enter button once. Like, as you can see, because it doesn't have that timestamp, there is a lot more on the page, on the first page, so that people don't have to like keep turning within 2 seconds of getting to a new chapter. The thing is, what's a little tricky is that I like it like this. This is 2 spaces, by the way. This is the full 2 inches. But it's not always going to be like this. It only looks like this because it doesn't have the timestamp. But the ones that have the timestamp look really weird, as you guys saw. But I don't just want to do the ones with the timestamp 1.5 inches and then these ones 2 inches, because that's just going to look wonky. That is like the number one formatting tip I can give you guys. Always, 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 always make sure that whatever you do is consistent across the board. If you do one type of font, do not go switching up the font. Now, the only exception with that particular thing is like if you have extra content, I don't know how to describe it, but like if you've read the A Girl's Guide to Murder book, there's like case files and like phone call conversations and emails and like all of this extra stuff. If you want to do another font for those to like make them look more realistic, make them look different, go for it. But for example, I am doing Arizonia for my chapter headers, and what am I doing? High Melody for these timestamps. I have to keep those same fonts. I can't be like using this font for one of the timestamps and then going and using like, what's another font? Like Cedarville cursive for the next one. Like, it's gonna look so wonky and like so amateur. So if you don't want to scream that you're an amateur, make sure you keep all the fonts consistent, all the stylistic things consistent, and that includes spacing. So if I space this chapter a certain amount, I unfortunately got to do that with the rest. But I like this better, but I think I'm just going to have to bite my ego on this one and just go for 1.5 inches. Still doesn't look bad for the record. I think we've settled on that for sure. So I'm just going to, it's really easy because I just go through, I just click it once, one and done. Allison's chapters got messed up. Because, oh my gosh, what am I even doing? Because Allison's chapters, they're diary entries. So I have this cutesy little like playlist thing because she loves listening to music and she always listens to it while she's writing these diary entries. But the formatting got really messed up. So I have to fix that. Or do I even want to keep it? Actually, I really like it. Okay, we're going to see when I order the proof copy how it looks. It's an image in Canva, by the way. Basically, I just went on Canva, searched up playlist, found this, and then downloaded a, like, this is just a white background. Like, I could move it around. It's a white background. And then you go up to insert image. I don't know why it's, like, not letting me do that, but insert an image from your device. And then you want to make sure that this third button is clicked. Break text. Wrap text doesn't really work. Break text. That way you can move it all around and you could like break the text. See how it's like in between? You could do that if you want. Otherwise, it's like not going to move the way it should. And then you just got to position it so that it's under. I'm trying to get it. There we go. So that it's under. That's the date for the diary entry. Okay, so I'm going to do a little time lapse here because I have 64 chapters in this book. 62 regular, an epilogue, and a bonus epilogue. It's going to take me a hot minute to like space all of these out. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I will check in with you in a few minutes. I wanna hear you say that you only want me. That you only want me. Some kind of magic, you came into my life, and with that bedhead, you keep me falling twice. Yeah, you're an angel. we are now done with that. I have officially spaced out all of the chapter headers so they look really sleek and professional, and also like definitely, oh, I didn't even do that with these, oopsie daisy. I like to do them with copyrights too, because like I said, consistency is key. Why is there a blank page? This is also something you might come across. There is a blank page. My playlist is like 4 freaking pages long. I'm gonna ignore that. And then there was not, I swear, I just looked at this morning because I finished the playlist page this morning, a space. There was not a space between that and the content warnings. I don't know what happened, but sometimes that happens when you are moving things down and you're pressing the enter button and things are going on different pages, and then you're making more pages and you're like, it just gets a little bit wonky because then it like takes it back and then it brings it back and then it forgets and it just gets weird. So all you gotta do is press the control and backspace button at the same time, and boom. I don't know why it also just spaced out my playlist really weird. Hello? Oh, I think because it's what is going on? And then sometimes that will happen. I don't know what just happened with my playlist page. It like, what is happening? Sometimes it makes it when you delete a page, because this is a header. Like that's the style it is a header. Then it makes whatever's on the last page a header too, which spaces it out weird. And that actually leads me to my next point. You never, ever, 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 ever want to mess with the spacing button. I can't even find it. Aha. Keep it as the default. I would say either single or 1.5. I tend to do 1.5. I don't really know why. But never do this, and never, ever, 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 ever do that. I know that's maybe what your school teaches you, or like what you have to do for essays or whatever. That's like breaking all of the grammatical writing publishing industry rules. I know this might look like really close together, but that's how it is definitely supposed to look. You are not supposed to have like big spaces, and if you do, then I would go up to and check the headings, because like when you do headings, either header 1, 2, or 3, mainly 1 and 2 though, I've noticed, it like adds an unnecessary space. That's why between like these chapter headers and the text of whose POV the chapter is in, there's a fat space. I did not do this. This is one space, but because this is header number 1, this is header number 2, and this is header number 3, it just naturally makes spaces. So if you've noticed this in your actual manuscript, make sure that the actual like story like this should be normal text. Not subtitle, not any of the headers, completely normal text. Now, all of the chapters are equally spaced. So we're going to move on to the next most important thing, which is actually a really common grammatical rule. Well, there's 2 things. And it has to do with the first line and the first letter of that line. This is a very, very, very non-negotiable type of rule. There's no getting around this. There's no like, but wait, what if this is the case? No. This is the case for every single book. If you notice a book that doesn't do this, I'm sorry to say it's probably self-published really poorly and they did not have an editor. Because I've been reading a lot of like books on my Kindle lately that are self-published, and I've been noticing this a lot, and I just don't think people like are aware of it, because if you don't have an editor, like how can you possibly know? I don't know why this is the case. It's just one of those like kind of funky grammatical rules that's been around for forever and ever. It dates back so long that we've noticed it without ever even noticing it, if that makes sense. And that is the fact that the first line of a chapter is like this, and then the first line after a scene break, so like this is my scene break, so like this line, should not be indented. Let me show you what I mean. Using Legend Born for an example, because I still have it next to me. If you look on the first page of the chapter, if you look on the chapter, indented, sorry, there's a shadow from my phone, indented, 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 not indented. And that's across the board for all the chapters. indented, 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 indented. Even the second line's indented, not indented. And I don't know if it's just because it makes that first line pop more. Like, I tend to be like, leave now, because it's like, it's different than the others. This kind of forms a pattern when it's just like straight cut. But having this be like basically off center, it emphasizes it more in our mind. I feel like we punctuate it more. I don't know if that's the reason, but that's just kind of like a common rule. Actually, let me see if I can find a seam break. I don't know if this book has seam breaks. Oh, yes, it does. Okay. Because some authors, they don't put symbols for their seam break, like how I have this symbol. Some authors do that. Some just like space it out. And then if there's just a big blank space in the page, you know that's a seam break. So as you can see, indented, 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 seam break, not indented, indented, indented. It's just like a common rule. Well, I don't want to say common because I feel like a lot of people like don't know about it, but then also like you see it in books and I feel like you don't think about it too much because you've seen it so much, it's just normal for you. But that is something really important. So it is a little bit tedious because I have to go in individually and just do that for every single chapter and every single, well, the first line of the chapter and then every single first line right after the seam break. So like the lines leading up to the seam break, those are indented as normal, but it's just that one line right after the seam break, not indented, and then the first line of a chapter. Everything else is normal, it's just those. So that's going to take some time. Before I do that, there's actually something else that I wanted to do that had to do with this first letter of a first line. And it is called drop caps. So you may have heard of this and you may like know what it is without like knowing what it is, if that makes sense. If the term drop caps don't ring a bell in your head, let me bring you to another example from Fourth Wing this time. So drop caps are basically when the first letter of a first line is like bolded or bigger, like this. That is a drop cap. See how the C, it looks bolded. It looks like probably a different font. And it's like big, kind of stretches on to like the next one. But it's the C in conscription. That's a stylistic choice. And it's like that for all the chapters. Hold on. Oh, and it's like that after seam breaks too. So this is another seam break where it's just a blank space. But the Y in U is bolded. This actually might be the same font. This might be Times New Roman. I'm not sure. Because, you know, fonts, they could be the exact same font, but they look so different when you, like, space it out, make it bold, but it's a lot bigger, and it looks like that. Chapter 5, the W in welcome, bigger, bolder, more prominent, it pops. So you know, woo, like, right away, there's a W in welcome, and then your eyes start reading welcome, and it's still not indented, by the way, although it looks a little bit less noticeable that it's not indented because it's bold and it like blends in, but you get what I mean. So that is a drop cap, and I actually just recently learned how to do these, by the way. I want to shout out the lovely Allie Marie. You probably know her. She is my favorite and one of the most popular like teen author tubers on social media. I only follow her on YouTube because I don't have TikTok or Instagram, but I've heard her TikToks are really good as well. But she does like long form like vlogs and YouTube videos. Y'all should totally go check her out. Her newest book is on my TBR. It's high up there. I'm really excited. But she actually made a video kind of a while ago on how to do it, and I studied it, and it makes sense. I've never tried it though, so we're going to try it together. But from what I understand, and I'm just going to kind of, sorry Allie, I'm going to kind of rehash your tutorial here. So the first thing, you're going to go to the first line in question here, and you're going to put your cursor, mine's already there, but you're going to put your cursor right before that first letter that you want to be bigger. And then you're going to go up here to the insert section. So that's on the same thing as file. And click insert, and you're going to click drawing. New drawing. So then you're going to be brought to this page. This is kind of like our drawing sketch pad. And usually we would draw whatever we want on here. But for the purpose of what we are doing, we're going to go up to the top left corner where it says Actions. Click on that and click Word Art instead. How fancy. Let me zoom out. And then basically you're just going to type that one letter that you want to be bolded and bigger and different than the rest. Basically, make sure that you don't just get ahead of yourself and you hit save and close. That's just not going to save it at all. You need to read what it says down here where it says use enter to save. So then you're going to press the enter button. And then as you can see, it makes the letter T. How cool is that? See, now you got that. And then what you can do is if you click on it and you go to the top bar, you can change the font. Just like if you're writing on Google Docs and you could, change the font, make it bold, italicized, different colors. You could make it have a border, all that different stuff. So I'm not going to be messing with italicized or color or anything. Actually, I am going to make it black to match. Also because books are printed in black and white, so you do not want to do some color thing thinking it's going to be bright pink, because books print in black and white. So I am going to change the font. So I think I'm going to just play around with different fonts. I don't know about you guys, but that's my favorite thing. I just love testing out different fonts, seeing how they look. Okay, right now I am stuck between, that's pretty, no, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that. Don't like that. Definitely don't like that. That's very boring. Okay, right now I would say I'm caught between, where did it go? Is it this one? Sorry, I'm trying to remember which one I actually liked. I low-key kind of like this one. Am I crazy? Okay, we're going to test it. I could always change it if I decide I hate it. So now we're going to go up here and hit save and close. And then it makes this really big fat image that's as you can tell, it's way too big. So then we're going to hit it. We're going to make sure not this first box that's blue right now, but this second box that's called wrap text is selected. And this allows us to resize it. Oh, and then we need to get rid of the T, I should have mentioned. And then also fit it wherever we'd like. And then you might need to play around with the indents, because it does look kind of weird. And I'm trying to decide, I might even space it like this. I feel like this looks really weird. But otherwise it looks like this. Yes, there we go. Okay, wait, this looks so much better. Actually, wait, do I like that? I feel like that's really big. Well, I think it should be big, but huh. I think I'm going to play around with, so then if we click the edit button, we can edit it. So I think I'm going to play around with the font. I don't hate it. I'm just going to say that. I thought I was going to hate it and I don't. I just don't know if it's a right fit. Let's try. No, that's the same font that I did for the chapter header. I don't like that. Let's try Cedarville cursive. You just want to be careful because it could alter that. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know. I'm so indecisive. Guys, being a self-published author and being indecisive does not go hand in hand. Let's see. I just feel like that looks weird, and like, what if people like don't see? I mean, how can you not see that? That's like really big. But then what if they just think he? Like, I feel like it's too spaced out, but there's no way for me to like do it, because if I try to drag it more, see, I'm dragging it more that way. Well, I guess I could do that, but I feel like it just scoots it, and then it does that. So I have to keep it a reasonable distance, but then it looks weird. Maybe that's just me. I'm gonna try a different font. I think this is my number one so far. I like this more than whatever I was using before. Let's try... Ew, no. Let's try great. Oh, actually... Huh, wait a sec. Why is it so high? I don't... Because remember, like I was saying before, whatever font I choose for this, I have to do that for every single drop cap. So maybe I like the T and how the T looks in this font, but like what if I don't like how an A looks, but I have to keep it the same font? So I have to pick like kind of a simple font where I know every single letter in the alphabet is going to look good with it. I don't like that. I also feel like that's like too much of a fantasy font for what I'm trying to do. I could try Loved by the King, Patrick. Actually, Patrick is basic, but why don't I hate it? Hold on a hot second. I don't hate it. I just hate the formatting. But then the formatting looks really wonky. Unless I like... Then I think I can... Okay, but then this got messed up. Can you see a difference? The December is off center. Easy fix. Oopsie. I just deleted the T. See, I live for the delete. Oopsie. What am I doing? I was gonna say I live for the undo button because it saved my life so many times. See, it's like weirdly formatted. Hold on. What am I even doing? I don't even know. Okay, hold on. This got like... Because it can't be right here, basically. I get it. So it's going to have to be on this off-center, basically. Does that look bad? Guys, tell me in the... Oh, I just hit my computer. Tell me in the comments. Do you hate this? Because, like, why do I not hate it? Like, yeah, it looks weird right here, but, like, I can't really do anything about that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try it out for 2 more, and if I like the 2 more in that font, in that placement, we're going to keep it. And also, what I heard from Allie is don't keep going in and doing insert drawing for every single chapter, because the sizes are going to be different, and then each one's going to be, like, a different size, and that breaks our rule of consistency. So instead what we're going to do is we're just going to copy and paste it. And then when I go to chapter 1, we're just going to paste it right in there. and then we can edit it to be a different letter. So it's T again. What am I even doing? I wasn't paying attention. And then I just gotta drag it. What the heck is this? Why is there a space here? Hello. Okay, that looks weird. Oh. Actually, wait. Does that look weird? Just chapter 1, by the way. See, I don't hate it. I feel like I should hate it, but I don't hate it. It's just going to take a lot of fiddling, a lot of, like, as soon as I'm done recording this, going around and messing with it for about 2 hours. But I kind of like it. Let's do one more. So we're going to go here, copy, paste. This one is an A. So we're going to edit this to be an A. Oh, so like, why didn't you? Oh yeah, I forgot. You have to click enter. I keep just clicking save and close, but you have to hit enter and then save and close. And then we're going to move it to basically as close as we can. Basically, we want it as close as we can without doing this. That is weird. So we're just gonna like raise it up until it stops doing that. See, I'm like trying to move it down, but like if I move it down too much, it does that. So if I move it up just a smidge. Hello? Why aren't you working? Also, it's normal to get frustrated because like what is this? Why is it like floating? It's like levitating. And also I hate it because like you can't see because of the stupid bar. You can't see what it's doing. Okay, I want you down here. No, stop splitting the text. Oh, I fixed it. Oh, okay. Wait, there's an extra space. Am I crazy? So I think this actually looks... Wait a sec. Wait a second. Yeah, no, it looks weird. Hold on a minute. How did I do that? I like did something and it got rid of the space and I don't know what I did. I want it to be far though because remember it's not supposed to be indented, but like how do I? Okay, wait. That actually doesn't look bad, does it? I think I have blindness here with like designing and writing and like my own books. I've read it so many times that no matter what I do, it feels natural, but also like I'm probably crazy. So please tell me if I am, because if this looks awful and hideous, I will remove it. But I kind of like it. I actually just want to go back and make sure that it is indented. Okay. Or, like, not indented. Sorry. Because remember, like, I still have to follow rules that it cannot be indented. Okay, wait. Okay, E, period. I feel like this actually looks pretty good. So basically what I'm going to be doing for, like, the next hour of my life, maybe 2 hours, even though I have homework, I'm going to be, like, unindenting the first line of every chapter, plus before a scene break, or sorry, after a scene break, and then I'm also going to be adding these really cool drop caps, the same ones. I think I'm going to stick with this font. I think we have a winner, and I'm going to be adding them to the same thing. So, first line of a chapter, and after a scene break, oh, get the drop caps too. I'm not sure about the scene break one. I feel like it's really up to you. I feel like if you look at fourth wing, let's look at fourth wing again. I think I already showed it after the scene break, but let's just reassure myself. Also, wait, am I crazy? Is that like the same font? I'm not trying to get copying allegations. Boom. Wait, that's so funny. Let me find a scene break. 1 second. Yeah, there's drop caps after a scene break. Hers looks so clean though. Like, how is it? Maybe because it's smaller. But like, you see how there's like no awkward spacing? I don't know. But like, also, I think that's a good lesson. Don't compare yourself. Comparison is quite literally the thief of joy. This is a traditionally published book that has been printed probably millions of times with how popular it was last year. Like, do not be like, well, mine looks ugly. It actually looks better than I thought. Staring at it with my eyes and then also through this phone screen, it doesn't look that bad. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep it, but I'm gonna like keep doing the same thing. I might go and fix this because it just looks like hey said, because the space between the T and the hey needs to be minimized so that it actually looks like they say. But I don't know, I think stylistically it looks pretty darn good. And then what I'm going to do is when I think I'm ready, I just kind of scroll through and just like make sure everything looks good. In this new format with the like spaced chapter headers, make sure, like I was saying before, there's no unwritten on blank pages, because then you need to delete that. Check for like weird spacing stuff like that. And a lot of like the weird spacing stuff I do catch in proofreading. So when I do my proofreading vlogs in a couple weeks, because I plan to do at least 2, I will talk about that and I will actually like show examples, because there almost always is at least one formatting issue in my books. So I'm bound to find something. Even though it looks pretty good now, there's gonna be something that looks wonky when it's actually printed. So I'll show that later. I don't know if there is going to be a video this week, just because this, like, as in like later today, now that I have it formatted, because I needed it to be formatted to upload it to Amazon KDP to order the proof copy. So now I can order the proof copy. But Amazon, especially with it being the holidays, like, it's already slow as it is, but then this time of year is like the worst timing. It's currently December 7th. It's probably going to be really slow and take at least a week to get to me. So I'm gonna have nothing to do this week. I mean, I guess except for like marketing, but I don't really want to vlog that. That's like boring. So hopefully this too, if I was smart, I would have spaced these 2 videos out that I posted this weekend, but it's okay. But just know, if I don't post a video this week, I'm not dead, nothing wrong with me, I promise. But because I am kind of in an in-between draft stage right now, formatting one and done, like, I just need to wait for the proof copy to get delivered to my house, and then the fun can begin. I'm going to do like an unboxing, and it's going to be really fun. I'm so excited to see how it looks. But remember how I made a video a few weeks ago, maybe a month or 2 ago? I don't even know. I lose track of time so easily. Where I was saying how formatting was only going to take me like a day tops. Some of you were probably like, what? Are you crazy? Like, how are you going to do that? But I am pretty much done. I mean, I do have to go through and do that, and I'm going to do that off camera because it's going to be very tedious, and otherwise this video is going to be like 3 hours long. But it is a one-day process. It really does not take as long as some may think. Once you get in it and you like really understand kind of the basic rules of formatting, once you get a kind of an eye for like how it's supposed to look, you can catch these weird like formatting errors just by scrolling through it. It goes really fast. And like I said, if you have good music, if this is something you kind of like, if you're more of a visual learner, you like doing stuff like this, spending time like rearranging things, just moving text so it looks uniform. If that's your cup of tea, you're gonna really like this. You might like this more than writing, honestly. Now you can hopefully see why formatting is easier and faster than it has been labeled to be. And I hope that this video gave you a clear understanding of what it is, how my process works, kind of some of the basic standard things you need to change, you need to look out for. And hopefully when it comes time for you to format your novel, you have more insight now so that you can tackle it on your own. That's going to be it for today's video. I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it helped someone in some way. That's really my whole goal here. And I will see you all, maybe not next week, but very soon for the next installment in the Labeled Innocent, Presumed Dead writing, publishing, documentation series. Bye guys.